King finally admits the truth and exposes himself as a fraud in chapter 191 of One Punch Man. Along with that, Garou makes a freaking return way earlier than I thought he would, and also more S-Class heroes are leaving the Hero Association for the Neo Heroes. This is yet another chapter where there's so much going on, so many moving parts, so many storylines getting developed, so let's just jump right into it. The chapter starts off in a pretty surprising note as we see that Sekingor has apparently resigned from the Hero Association. He's handing back his cybernetic eyeball in his hand, and of course all the other executives are very shocked as to why he's doing this, and McCoy is actually one of the people in the room when he gives everybody this news, and he's more so suspicious than he is surprised like everybody else. He questions Sekingor as to why exactly he's leaving the Hero Association. If it's for leaving for the Neo Heroes, he finds a hard time believing that he'll get an even better position than he has now, because he's currently a top executive of the Hero Association, so things aren't really adding up to McCoy. McCoy is definitely acting like extra skeptical about all of this, because as we learned in the previous chapter, he's been working for the Neo Heroes on the low key, and it seems like he's doing some behind the scenes shady stuff to kind of feed them information. So of course he's going to be a little paranoid about other people from the Hero Association also jumping ship and potentially finding out what he's been up to. Well, Sekingor essentially states that he wants the best for the public. He wants to do the best thing to protect people. So in his eyes, he's just joining the organization that's best suited to do that in his opinion. Well, McCoy isn't buying it and he starts calling out Sekingor, pretty much calling him a traitor and trying to high road him. And Sitch obviously does not look very happy about him saying any of this. So it seems pretty clear that Sitch and Sekingor have been aware of what McCoy has been doing, or at least the fact that he's a pretty shady guy in general. So Sekingor pretty much tells him like, look who's talking, buddy, why don't you watch yourself? And this seems to put McCoy in his place. Well, McCoy notices that Sitch is weirdly calm and accepting about all this, and we're gonna find out in a second why Sitch seems so unsurprised by all of this, because we cut to Sekingor leaving the room and opening this locker with this gun case it looks like, and as soon as he opens the case, there's a brand new prosthetic eye and prosthetic hand, and as soon as he puts in the eye, he starts seeing all these files kind of pop up in front of him. But interestingly enough, it seems that Child Emperor, or I guess Wild Emperor now, is the one that provided these implants for Sekingor, which, you know, putting two and two together means that Sekingor is likely going undercover or something, working alongside Wild Emperor and the Neo Heroes, and this was a pre-orchestrated plan to infiltrate the Neo Heroes and try to get as much information as they can, because they do also seem like a very shady new organization. I don't know if this is a hot take or anything, but I definitely like the introduction of Sekingor in the manga. I think he plays a pretty cool role of like the executive from within the Hero Association that's essentially a hero in a suit. That way he can be a good vehicle for revealing a lot of the inner workings of the Hero Association, or in this case now the Neo Heroes, so more Sekingor is always welcome to me. Well, we find out that he's not the only one jumping ship in this chapter, because we then see, as soon as the elevator door that Sekingor is in opens up, we see that Metal Bat is right there waiting for him. Sekingor is pretty surprised by this, but apparently this was also pre-planned, because we get a little flashback with Metal Bat talking to Sitch, and the conversation about Metal Bat also leaving the Neo Heroes gets brought up, which would make sense because if you guys are webcomic readers, you know that Metal Bat actually does jump ship and join the Neo Heroes. Even though he has way less screen time in the webcomic, it seems like his character is going to stay on course in at least this area. The thing is though that the context under why he switches in the first place seems to be kind of different, because in the webcomic, Metal Bat leaves the Hero Association to provide a better life for his sister, more security, and in the manga he seems to want the same, but at the same time he's not the type of guy to be like a straight up traitor. So the plan actually ends up being that Metal Bat infiltrates the Neo Heroes alongside Sekingor and kind of acts as his bodyguard in a way, potentially keeping him out of trouble if he ends up being caught or found out. And I think this whole arrangement is a lot better for Metal Bat's character in the manga, because like I said in the webcomic, he's a lot less developed than he is here, and Metal Bat being the good-hearted and loyal guy that he is, it seems much more fitting of his character for him to be kind of like another undercover bodyguard, still trying to work towards the greater good. Well, they get picked up by a similar jet that Wild Emperor was picked up in the previous chapter, and we then cut to Bang's dojo, and right there in the first page, we see that none other than our boy Garou is intimidating Chiranko, basically telling him to go clean, even though technically Chiranko is his superior at that dojo, because Chiranko has been there longer, and apparently Garou is starting from the bottom up. Well, Bang gives him a good whack on the head for this, and as Garou is comically cleaning the floors, another character that we haven't seen in a while, Sourface, starts making fun of him for it, and I really like this comical situation that Garou has at Bang's dojo now. It definitely seems like he's going to be more involved in the manga going forward, compared to how he was in the webcomic where he barely pops up at all, and that's a very welcome change to me. I definitely like seeing Garou in any capacity. Pretty cool to see his new haircut too, but apparently aside from being at the dojo, he he also has a part-time job, and it seems like everyone's pretty proud of him for it. Pretty heartwarming moment in my opinion. Garou seems to be happy and he seems to be turning a new leaf and is eventually going to be on the path to become a hero, at least I think. Also, Garou leaving for this job might get you webcomic readers very excited for what's to come. A specific encounter that might be coming in the near future. Absolutely cannot wait for how the manga adapts that whole moment and scene, especially since it seems that in the webcomic, Garou was more so like hiding or trying to lay low and was still technically a wanted man. But here in the manga, it seems like he has much more of a second chance, and him walking free seems more accepted. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the manga plays all of this out. But just as one ultra powerful character leaves, another one arrives, because Chiranko comes running to the dojo saying that there's a guest here, and it turns out to be none other than King himself. Much like the reader, Bang is very surprised to see King there, but it turns out that King is there specifically to talk to Bang and admit to him that he is not the person that everyone thinks he is. He goes on about how he can't live this lie anymore, and how he was almost discovered by Atomic Samurai earlier, of course referring to the whole sword cutting the apple thing that we just saw a couple chapters back. And as he's explaining all of this, the King engine is going strong, obviously because he's super nervous about finally revealing his secret to somebody else other than Saitama. He wants to come clean but is afraid of what's going to happen to him once everybody realizes that he's a fraud. But as he's laying it all out on the table for Bang, telling him the full truth, the King engine is going so loud that Bang could barely hear him. So King's brain like short circuits for a second, and he gets right to the point for why he's actually there. He looks at Bang with this scary ass looking face and he says, "Please make me stronger." So are we going to be getting like a King training arc now that he's revealed everything to Bang? That would be pretty awesome to see. And if you're a webcomic reader, you already know where this is going, but hey, things have changed before, so maybe things are going to change for this whole story arc that King's having. Can't wait to see that, and I can't wait to see more Garou in the manga. Crossing my fingers that he takes a bigger role in the manga than he does the webcomic. It would have also been awesome to see Garou come face to face with King. It's likely that now Garou would be able to see straight through King and know that he actually is a fraud, and I just feel like those two characters need more interactions than they've already had. Always been interested what a conversation between Garou and King would be. Fingers crossed that that also happens at some point. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly where this whole storyline with Metal Bat and Second Gar and Child Emperor and the Neo Heroes goes. It's pretty funny that we have 2 chapters now of little to no Saitama. Like, I feel like many manga wouldn't be able to go a few chapters without their main character. So it just goes to show how awesome the world building of One Punch Man really is. Being able to focus on all these different characters that aren't the MC and still have a good time, it's pretty awesome. Lots of storylines being planted in this one. Definitely appreciate this chapter for how much building it's doing while still also being entertaining. But let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. That is it for this one though. Have an absolutely wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next one.